40 is not terrifying because 40 is old. 40 becomes terrifying when you reach it with no leverage, no skill the market urgently needs, no income outside one employer, no proof that travels with you, no savings that allow you to reject humiliation, no alternative when the person controlling your paycheck decides that your dignity is too expensive. Then every manager becomes powerful, every unexpected bill becomes a command, every gatekeeper becomes difficult to challenge, and every year feels less like experience and more like a closing door. But there is something most men misunderstand about age. The market is not necessarily rejecting them because they are older. It is rejecting their dependence. A major study of entrepreneurship in the United States found that the average founder of the top 0.1% of fastest-growing new ventures was 45 years old. The researchers also found that relevant industry experience strongly predicted success. Sam Walton opened the first Walmart at 44. Henry Ford established Ford Motor Company at 39, after 2 earlier attempts at commercial automobile manufacturing had failed. Their age was not the advantage. Their accumulated skill, judgment, reputation, and evidence were. Your age is not closing the market. Your lack of leverage is closing your options. The real danger is not waking up older. The real danger is waking up with obligations that have grown faster than your ability to refuse. At 25, potential can still protect your ego. You can tell yourself that you are still learning, still searching, still preparing. At 30, your plans may still sound credible. People may still describe you as someone with potential. But as the years pass, potential loses its power. The world begins asking a colder question. What do you control? Not what do you understand. Not what do you intend to build. Not what do you believe you deserve. What can you do that another person will pay for? What evidence proves that you can do it? How many people could buy that result? How long could you survive if your current income disappeared? Could you reject a bad offer, or would fear force you to accept the first condition placed in front of you? 2 men can reach the same age and occupy completely different realities. One man reaches 40 with a transferable skill, documented results, professional relationships, savings, and several ways to earn. The other reaches 40 with one title, one employer, one paycheck, and obligations that make departure nearly impossible. The first man has aged. The second man has become surrounded. This is why an ordinary restructuring at work can feel like a death sentence. It is why a manager's opinion becomes more powerful than it should be. It is why one unexpected expense can erase your ability to negotiate. When your alternatives disappear, small events become commands. You begin tolerating conditions you once promised yourself you would never accept. You remain silent when someone disrespects you. You keep performing work that creates no portable proof. You tell yourself that you are being responsible, when in reality you have allowed responsibility to become captivity. Age did not create that captivity. Unmanaged dependence did. Machiavelli understood dependence because he lived in a world where alliances shifted, officers disappeared, powerful families returned, and men who appeared secure could lose their position almost overnight. Most people reduce Machiavelli to cruelty because that interpretation is easy to reject. His deeper subject was more uncomfortable. He studied what happens when survival depends on forces that do not belong to you. Dependence on fortune, dependence on borrowed strength, dependence on unstable loyalty, dependence on people whose interests can change without warning. Machiavelli wrote, "No principality is secure without having its own forces." He was speaking about military and political power. A career is not an army, an employer is not a foreign prince, savings are not a fortress. But the structural lesson remains precise. What belongs to another person can be withdrawn by another person. Your title belongs to the company. Your access to internal systems belongs to the company. Your position in the hierarchy belongs to the company. Your manager's approval belongs to your manager. Your employer's promise of stability belongs to the employer. But your skill can belong to you. Your documented proof can belong to you. Your reputation can travel with you. Your relationships can exist outside one institution. Your savings can purchase time. Your ability to find another buyer can reduce the power of the current one. This is the difference between income and leverage. Income pays current expenses. Leverage determines what remains when the income stops. A salary can make a man comfortable while keeping him powerless. It can finance a better apartment, a better car, and a more expensive lifestyle while leaving the underlying structure untouched. If one decision from one manager can still destroy your financial stability, your income may have increased while your control remained exactly the same. Ask yourself this: if your current employer disappeared tomorrow, what would remain? Would another employer understand your value without your current title? Could you show a measurable result? Could you prove that you increased revenue, reduced waste, improved a process, created demand, solved a technical problem, or made an operation more efficient? Would your skill transfer to another company, client, industry, or market? Or would you discover that most of your value only existed inside a system controlled by someone else? That answer reveals your real position. A man with income but no leverage is secure only while permission continues. Permission from the employer, permission from the client, permission from the platform, permission from the institution. He may be praised, he may be called loyal, he may be told that the organization is a family. But praise is not another source of income. Loyalty is not financial runway. Affection is not negotiating power. Approval is emotionally pleasant, but it does not change incentives. Leverage changes incentives. It changes what happens when someone considers replacing you. It changes how calmly you can respond to pressure. It changes whether a bad condition becomes an inconvenience or a prison. Income becomes leverage only when part of it is converted into assets that survive the current arrangement. A transferable skill, visible proof, a credible reputation, market knowledge, a financial buffer, access to more than one buyer, the ability to leave without immediately collapsing. This is where many ambitious men deceive themselves. They ask how much they are earning, but they never ask how much of their earning power survives without the gatekeeper. They confuse a favorable arrangement with personal strength. Then, the arrangement changes, and the illusion is exposed. If you are a man who knows he needs more control, stop confusing consumption with progress. You already know that one employer, one paycheck, and one fragile plan are not freedom. Your real problem is that you do not know which skill to build, what proof to create, or which move fits your current position. If you keep collecting information without turning it into a focused plan, another year will pass while the same gatekeeper continues controlling your decisions. Depths of psyche helps you see reality clearly. The leverage map shows you what to build with that clarity, the skill path, proof project, and execution plan that fit your current situation. This is not for the man searching for another motivational escape. It is for the man prepared to replace potential with evidence. The decision is yours. Sam Walton understood the difference between experience and leverage long before the first Walmart opened. The popular version of his story begins when he was 44 years old and opened the first Walmart in Rogers, Arkansas in 1962. But that was not the beginning. Before Walmart, Walton had spent years operating variety stores and studying retail. He learned pricing. He studied inventory. He watched how customers behaved. He saw what people bought, what they ignored, and what brought them back. His competitors doubted that a discount business based on low prices could succeed in smaller communities. They were not questioning his age. They were questioning the model. Walton did not answer them with confidence. He answered with accumulated intelligence. He used earlier stores as laboratories. He refined the relationship between volume and margins. He learned how disciplined purchasing and lower prices could create repeat demand. He studied the market until his experience became more than memory. It became a repeatable operating model. By 1967, the Walton family owned 24 stores, generating $12.7 million in sales. The first Walmart was not the beginning of Walton's education. It was the public expression of education already accumulated. That distinction matters. Your years do not automatically become an advantage. 10 years in an industry can create mastery, or it can create 1 year of experience repeated 10 times. Time does not convert itself into leverage. Experience becomes leverage when it is compressed into a capability that another person can recognize, verify, and buy. A system that reduces waste. A campaign that attracts customers. A process that saves time. A tool that solves a costly problem. A body of work that proves you can create a result more than once. The world cannot price experience, it cannot see. This is why hard-working men remain invisible. They assume effort speaks for itself. It does not. Unframed effort can disappear inside an organization. Undocumented results can be credited to someone else. Private competence can remain economically worthless because no buyer knows how to evaluate it. Walton converted experience into an operating model. Henry Ford converted something more dangerous: failure. Men are often told that failure makes them stronger. That is a comforting lie. Failure can make a man poorer, more cautious, more ashamed, and less willing to act. It can damage reputation, drain capital, and convince others that supporting him would be irrational. Failure only becomes valuable when it improves the next structure. Ford's first 2 attempts at commercial automobile manufacturing failed. The Detroit Automobile Company did not become the lasting enterprise he intended. He later left the Henry Ford Company. By the time Ford Motor Company was established in 1903, investors had reasons to question him. He did not respond by repeating the same attempt with greater confidence. He continued refining vehicle design. He used racing success to restore attention and credibility. He attracted new financial backing. He focused on producing a vehicle that could be sold, not merely admired as an engineering experiment. Ford Motor Company was created in June of 1903, with Ford and 12 others investing $28,000. The company sold its first vehicle the following month. That transaction mattered more than every explanation Ford could have given about his potential. It was evidence. It proved that the new structure could produce a buyer. Unsupported men usually misunderstand failure in one of 2 ways. Some treat failure as a verdict. They fail once and allow one event to become an identity. Others romanticize failure. They repeat the same behavior, make the same offer, approach the same market, and call repetition persistence. Both reactions are weak. Failure becomes leverage only when it changes something. Your skill, your offer, your positioning, your process, or your understanding of the buyer. If nothing changes, failure is not intelligence. It is repetition. Walton converted years into a system. Ford converted failure into a better move. Both men demonstrate the same law. Age, experience, and failure have no independent value. They become valuable only after they are converted into proof, capability, and a structure that gives you more options than you had before. And this creates the next question. If leverage must be built from skill and proof, How do you choose the right skill without wasting another 6 months chasing something the market never wanted? You begin by understanding that most men are measuring the wrong clock. The first is the age clock. It tells you how many years have passed. It cannot be reversed, negotiated with, or defeated. But by itself, it tells you almost nothing about your strategic position. The second is the comparison clock. This is the clock created by watching other men. Who became wealthy earlier? Who bought a home first? Who built a company? Who appears further ahead? This clock creates pressure without direction because you rarely see the full structure behind another man's success. You do not see his family capital, inherited network, protected housing, private introductions, hidden debt, or ability to fail without immediate ruin. You compare your exposed position with another man's protected position, then call the emotional result truth. The third is the leverage clock. This clock asks different questions. What valuable skill do you control? What proof can you show? Who can buy the result? How many alternative buyers exist? How much financial time have you purchased? Who knows the quality of your work? How quickly can you adapt if the market changes? How dependent are you on one institution? This is the only clock that changes your strategic position. A man can be 30 years old and possess no leverage. Another can be 45 with deep industry knowledge, visible proof, strong relationships, savings, and several ways to earn. The first man is younger. The second man is harder to control. Age measures time lived. Leverage measures options retained. Stop asking whether you are behind in life. That question is too vague to guide action. Ask instead where your dependence is concentrated. One employer, one client, one platform, one source of traffic, one person who controls access, one skill that cannot travel, one financial emergency that could force you to accept anything. You are not competing against another man's timeline. You are competing against your own concentration of dependence. Once you see that, the path becomes clearer. Leverage is not built randomly. It is built in an order. First, skill. Learn something connected to an outcome another person already values. Do not begin with identity. Begin with demand. A skill is not commercially valuable because it is difficult, impressive, or fashionable. It becomes valuable when it solves a recognized problem for a recognizable buyer. Ask what result the skill produces. Ask who pays for that result. Ask how quickly competence can be demonstrated. Ask how much it costs to test. Ask whether the skill can travel across employers, clients, industries, or platforms. A useful first skill does not need to be glamorous. It needs to create movement. Second, proof. Do not ask people to believe that you are capable. Reduce the amount of belief required. Create samples. Complete small projects. Improve an existing process. Analyze a real problem. Produce a demonstration. Document the result. Your first proof does not need prestige. It needs clarity. A stranger should be able to look at it and understand what you can do, for whom, and what changed because of your work. Third, income. The first paid transaction changes the nature of the skill. Before payment, the skill is a hypothesis. After payment, you possess evidence that someone will exchange resources for the result. One transaction is not freedom, but it is the first crack in total dependence. It proves that permission can come from more than one source. Fourth, buffer. Convert part of income into time. Savings are not merely money, they are delayed obedience. A buffer allows you to reject one bad condition. It allows you to wait for a better buyer. It allows you to survive a short interruption. It allows you to think before agreeing. The buffer does not need to make you permanently free before it becomes useful. Its first function is to reduce desperation. Desperation makes bad deals look necessary. A buffer restores the ability to distinguish urgency from manipulation. Fifth, options. Develop access to more than one buyer, employer, client, platform, or channel. Options prevent one gatekeeper from becoming absolute. The goal is not to eliminate cooperation. The goal is to prevent cooperation from becoming captivity. A man with no alternatives must persuade. A man with alternatives can negotiate. Sixth, control. Control begins when losing one source does not destroy the entire structure. This is not total independence. Total independence is usually an illusion. It is reduced single-point dependence. One employer can disappear without ending your earning power. One client can leave without destroying your business. One platform can change without erasing your visibility. One emergency can occur without forcing immediate submission. This is how the leverage stack works. Skill creates the possibility of proof. Proof reduces buyer uncertainty. A paid result validates demand. Income creates a buffer. A buffer improves judgment. Better judgment creates options. Options change negotiations. Changed negotiations create control. Most men try to begin with freedom. They quit the job, announce the business, purchase expensive training, attempt several skills at once, then call the resulting chaos courage. That is not courage. It is undisciplined exposure. The unsupported man cannot copy the risk of a man with a safety net. Another person may have family capital, industry contacts, housing support, or the ability to fail repeatedly without immediate ruin. You may not. That does not require timidity. It requires controlled aggression. Machiavelli wrote, "Discipline in war counts more than fury." The original statement concerns military organization, but the structural principle applies. Intensity without order exhausts itself. The man who works frantically for 11 days and disappears for 3 weeks is not building leverage. The man who purchases 10 courses and completes none is not accumulating skill. The man who quits before testing demand is not demonstrating bravery. He is transferring power from a bad employer to financial panic. Do not quit stable income before creating proof. Do not chase several skills because choosing one threatens your ego. Do not purchase expensive education before testing whether buyers value the outcome. Do not copy another man's risk without understanding his protection. Do not gamble your survival on an untested offer. Do not wait for complete confidence. Confidence is not the first asset. Evidence is. Now you need a way to choose the skill. Score each possible skill from 1 to 5 across 6 criteria. First, market demand. Are identifiable buyers already paying for this result? Not admiring it, not discussing it, paying for it. Second, speed to visible proof. Can you create a credible sample quickly, or will you spend a year preparing before anyone can evaluate you? Third, speed to first income. Can you test a narrow paid offer without requiring years of credentials, debt, or permission? Fourth, cost of entry. Can you begin without dangerous financial exposure? Can the skill be tested with time, attention, and modest tools instead of borrowed money and blind faith? Fifth, portability. Can the skill travel across companies, clients, industries, or platforms? A skill that belongs entirely to one employer gives that employer most of the leverage. Sixth, long-term leverage. Can the skill eventually become a system, reputation, product, team, distribution channel, or owned asset? Do not manipulate the score to protect your favorite idea. The matrix exists to expose emotional attachment. A skill may have enormous long-term potential, but require years before useful proof. Another may produce income quickly but remain dependent on one platform. A third may be highly portable but crowded with providers who look identical. You are not searching for perfection. You are searching for the strongest first position. Choose one skill with clear buyers, low testing cost, fast feedback, a measurable outcome, a credible path to a first transaction, and enough portability that the skill does not belong entirely to one institution. The mind will resist this decision. It will ask whether another skill is better. It will continue researching. It will create new categories. It will demand certainty. Machiavelli observed, "Irresolute republics, unless upon compulsion, never follow wise courses." A man can behave the same way. He keeps every option open and therefore develops none. The matrix does not guarantee the perfect choice. It gives you a choice that can be tested. That is enough. Your first objective is not to discover a perfect lifelong identity. It is to build one capability that reduces dependence. Once the skill is chosen, the next 90 days must produce more than study. They must produce evidence. During the first 30 days, choose one narrow outcome. Learn only what is required to produce that outcome. Create 3 proof samples. Do not hide behind endless preparation. Your samples may be simulated projects, personal projects, improvements to existing work, or demonstrations designed for a clearly defined buyer. The objective is not mastery. The objective is visible competence. At the end of the first 30 days, you should be able to answer 4 questions clearly. What can I do? For whom? What result does it create? Where is the evidence? During the next 30 days, confront the market. Contact potential buyers. Ask informed questions. Show the proof. Gather objections. Test one narrow offer. Do not defend the skill emotionally. Observe where the market becomes confused. Observe which result attracts attention. Observe what buyers consider urgent and what they consider optional. Rejection is not automatically proof that the skill has no value, but repeated confusion is information. Repeated indifference is information. Repeated objections are information. Adjust the offer, the proof, or the buyer. Do not turn market feedback into a verdict on your dignity. During the final 30 days, produce the first paid result. Secure one controlled project, transaction, or measurable commercial outcome. Keep the scope narrow. Deliver clearly. Document the initial condition. Document what you changed. Document the result. When appropriate, request permission to use the result as a case study. Save part of the income. The first objective is not complete freedom. It is less dependence. At the end of 90 days, you may not possess wealth, but you can possess a chosen direction. 3 proof samples, market feedback, a tested offer, a paid result, and the beginning of a buffer. That is not fantasy. That is a change in position. You are no longer waiting for someone to recognize your potential. You are producing evidence that reduces their need to believe you. This is the point where realism must remain disciplined. Do not turn Machiavellian thinking into paranoia. Not every manager is an enemy. Not every friend is secretly threatened. Not every institution is preparing to betray you. The objective is not to hate dependence. The objective is to see it accurately. You still need cooperation. You still need buyers. You still need relationships. You still need trust. But cooperation becomes dangerous when you have no alternative to it. Trust becomes dangerous when it replaces verification. Loyalty becomes dangerous when it survives only because departure feels impossible. The strongest position is not isolation. It is valuable interdependence supported by options. If you are the man who is tired of consuming polished fragments, while your real decisions remain unresolved. Stop mistaking insight for transformation. You already know that leverage matters, but your real problem is applying the principle. When your situation is complicated, your resources are limited, and no one is giving you a clean path. If you keep collecting ideas without converting them into disciplined action, you will become more informed while remaining equally dependent. Inside Patreon, you get exclusive, unfiltered material on power, strategy, self-command, leverage, and execution, so you can turn clarity into a position that is harder to control. This is not for the man who wants entertainment disguised as philosophy. It is for the man prepared to confront his structure and rebuild it. The decision is yours. 40 is not a deadline. It is an audit. The question is not how old you are. The question is how many decisions, one employer, one client, one institution, or one emergency can still make for you. Build one skill the market needs. Turn the skill into proof. Turn proof into income. Turn income into a buffer. Turn the buffer into options. Turn options into control. Do not measure your life against another man's savings, title, age, or protection. Measure how much dependence you are removing from your own. Do not ask whether it is too late. Ask whether another year will pass without increasing your ability to refuse. Age is not the deepest threat. Dependence is. And leverage is the structure that makes dependence less expensive to escape.